Battle Futuh, the House of Victories. This is the story of the construction of the largest mosque in Western Europe, built by the Ahmadiyya Muslim community. The Ahmadiyya Muslim community in the United Kingdom was first established in 1914. In 1924, the ladies of the community in Qadian, India, donated the funds to construct the first mosque in London. The Fazl Mosque is commonly known as the London Mosque and is located in Southfields in the London Borough of Wandsworth and accommodates 150 worshippers. As the decades passed, it was evident that the capacity of the site had become insufficient and a search for a larger site began. An appeal for the collection of funds for a new headquarters was launched on the 24th of February 1995 by the then head of the worldwide Ahmadiyya Muslim community, Hazrat Mirza Tahir Ahmad, may Allah be pleased with him, in a live televised Friday sermon on the community's worldwide satellite station, Muslim Television Ahmadiyya International.
इस वक्त मैं 5 मिलियन की तहरीक जमात इंग्लिस्तान की मरकजी मस्जिद के लिए करता हूँ, इस दुआ और नियत के साथ कि ये लाजिमन इंग्लिस्तान की वसी तरीन मस्जिद हो। इबादतों की गुंजाइश पर जोर होना चाहिए। जो 7 मुल्क इमारतें हैं या दूसरे नखरे हैं उनको बेशक नजरअंदाज कर दें।
After an exhaustive search, the community identified a 5.2-acre site which had been used as a large milk processing centre since the 1940s. Within the London Borough of Merton, in the town of Morden, and had been unused for several years. Prior to the acquisition, the 4th Caliph, may Allah be pleased with him, graciously visited the site, inspecting the building in detail before giving his blessing to the acquisition by the community. The project was led by the late president of the Ahmadiyya Muslim community in the UK, Mr. Aftab Ahmed Khan. It was the inspirational energy and enthusiasm of this former ambassador of Pakistan, who had served as president since 1986, that led to the purchase of the site. Sadly, he passed away shortly after the purchase by the community. The site had been left abandoned and unused for many years. However, much of the infrastructure of a mid-century building remained intact. The front of the building was designed for vans to load milk for delivery to customers and had to be extensively refurbished by the community. The factory floor was completely dilapidated and exposed to the elements. As part of the refurbishment project, this section was completely redesigned and constructed, providing for many of the facilities available at Battle Futuh today. The upper floor in the main building, which is the location for Noor Hall, was in particular disrepair. This is the entrance to what is now the exhibition. Tahir Hall, which is the largest conference hall in the Battle Futuh complex, was newly built, following the demolition of existing sheds and buildings which had become unusable. This is one of the buildings that were demolished to construct Tahir Hall. The remaining dilapidated buildings at the rear of the site were also demolished to make way for the actual mosque itself. The factory included a 110-foot chimney, which had become an eyesore for many of the local residents. This has now become the decorative minaret to accompany the mosque. The mosque attracted considerable interest in the local community, and following a national campaign by certain extremist groups, local residents were incited by scare tactics and misinformation to oppose any development. The community was, however, able to secure planning permission for the construction of a mosque and associated community facilities. The site was finally purchased on Friday, 29th March 1996 for a price of £2.3 million. A liaison group was formed to create a link with the local community and comprised of local residents, the local authority, police, churches and religious groups, as well as other interested parties. The fourth Caliph, may Allah be pleased with him, laid the foundation of the mosque on the 19th of October 1999. This historic day coincided with the foundation of Fazl Mosque, which took place on the same day in 1924. The project was reconsidered by the community in 2001, and there was a possibility that the project may have been stopped and an alternative site identified. However, with the support of the local residents, the community decided to continue with the project with a new zeal and enthusiasm. On the 16th of February 2001, the fourth Caliph, may Allah be pleased with him, made an international appeal for £5 million to complete the construction of Battle Futuh. On the 8th of April 2001, the fourth Caliph, may Allah be pleased with him, approved a new executive committee to complete the construction of Battle Futuh. This committee was led by Mr. Muhammad Nasir Khan, the project director. 4 months later, the fourth Caliph, may Allah be pleased with him, approved the revised design of Battle Futuh. These proposals were approved by the planning authority, giving the green light for the final phase of the project. Whilst the construction of the mosque was the main focus for the community, the remainder of the building continued to undergo refurbishment, in order that it could be made available for use by members of the community. The old dilapidated factory front was completely refurbished to provide a more visually pleasing view in this South London suburb. The mosque was designed with the assistance of a professional design team, including architects and engineers, who worked with our own designers. All of the materials and processes used in the construction have been carefully considered and tested, taking into account durability and environmental considerations. The marble used for the outer structure was a new product at the time, which reconstituted the marble to ensure that it was both extremely durable and also retained its beauty and consistency. The walkway around the mosque acts as a safety aspect for pedestrians, an aesthetic feature to the mosque, and to enable light to enter the lower ground women's prayer hall. Both the prayer halls have been fitted with underfloor heating and cooling systems, which are designed to use the water well that is located beneath the building, which is constantly recycled, and therefore it does not use any additional water resources and saves on vital energy resources. In keeping with the traditions of Islam, the interior of the mosque is simple. The Futuh Mosque was completed on the 3rd of October 2003, when the 5th Caliph, may Allah strengthen his hand, delivered his inaugural Friday sermon from the newly completed mosque in a joyous day for the whole Ahmadiyya Muslim community, both in the UK and worldwide. This was broadcast live across the world through MTA International. At an inauguration reception, distinguished guests were invited to join in the celebrations. The opening of the mosque attracted tremendous press interest from around the world, receiving coverage from over 146 media outlets. All the national newspapers, television and many radio stations reported the event, and media from all around the world sent reporters to the mosque before, during and after the inauguration. Futuh was voted as one of the top 50 best modern buildings in the world to visit by The Information, a supplement magazine of the independent newspaper. The mosque has been and continues to be recognized and awarded for its contribution to the London in Bloom campaign. Merton Council recognises the mosque for its significant contribution to the community.
It's called the House of Victory. Rising out of the suburbs of Surrey, it's the largest mosque complex in Western Europe, the crowning achievement of the Ahmadi Muslim community in Britain. In a little over a century, the community has spread to 176 countries. It has over 200 million followers. It's the fastest growing religion in the world. Designed by a British architect, the mosque can house up to 10,000 worshippers. They believe the founder of their faith was the promised Messiah, as foretold by the Holy Prophet Muhammad. They say Jesus survived the crucifixion and carried on with his gospel in India, living to the age of 120 before being buried in Kashmir. It's a community based on the rejection of all forms of extremism.
Islam does allow you to defend yourself, but the primary teaching does not allow you to take your life or life of other innocent people. And if you go by that primary teaching, then what has happened both on the 11th of September or what has happened in terms of suicide bombings anywhere in the world is totally against the principal teaching of Islam.
The community has its own 24-hour satellite television channel to beam its message of moderation across the world. But it's a message that's not being welcomed by the majority of Muslims. The Ahmadi community, though, has an appeal which can stretch across ethnic and religious divides. This former broker is an enthusiastic convert.
Some of the other Muslims that have gone down the conversion route have ended up in Guantanamo Bay and done, gone way off the deep end. I think here it is Islam says follow the middle ground, and I think these guys are actually doing that, and I'm very happy and proud to be part of them.
Tomorrow, devotees of the faith will arrive from all over the world to take part in the inaugural Friday prayers at the mosque. They hope it will become a landmark of peaceful coexistence. David Chater, Sky News, Morden, Surrey.
Since the opening in 2003, the Futuh Mosque has assumed increasing importance, being a key provider for religious education for schools and colleges. It also provides vital conference and other facilities to local residents, groups, local and national government. The mosque continues to attract thousands of visitors each year. The Ahmadiyya Muslim community welcomes you to Futuh.